Welcome to today's deep dive. We are really thrilled to have you with us today as we explore a highly specific and honestly totally fascinating stack of sources.
Yeah, we have an incredible wealth of documentation here to get through.
We really do. Today we're looking at a detailed certification manual, some clinical protocols, and official website materials from Body Slim.
Right, which is Australia's #1 body sculpting certified trainer.
Exactly. And the mission for this deep dive, the reason we were so excited to get into this, is to explore a really specific trademarked cosmetic protocol.
Yeah, they call it the Green Fat Melt Wrap Signature System.
Right, the green fat melt wrap. And we want to figure out why a concept they call strategic treatment layering is just completely disrupting the traditional single treatment approach in the beauty industry.
Because that single treatment approach has been the standard for decades.
It has. Okay, let's unpack this. Because to really understand why this is a disruption, you kind of have to look at the core problem with standard non-invasive body sculpting.
Right. I mean, think about how it usually works.
Yeah, usually you just walk into a typical salon and they offer you one single modality. Like you might sit under a light or you get a specialized massage.
Or they just, apply a contouring cream and send you home.
Exactly. There's this expectation that one standalone machine or product is just going to do all the heavy lifting in a single step.
Which is really treating the human body less like a complex, interconnected biochemical system and more like a simple switch that we can just flip on or off.
Right. I mean, think about it like baking a complex, multi-layered cake. You wouldn't just throw raw flour, some unbroken eggs, and a solid block of butter into a bowl.
And just shove it in the oven expecting a masterpiece.
Right. You'd get a mess. You have to sift the flour. You have to cream the butter and sugar first. There is a precise, non-negotiable sequence to it all.
And that's exactly what our sources today are suggesting about the human body.
Right. Applying different cosmetic modalities in a really heavily regimented, non-negotiable order creates this massive compounding effect.
Yeah, an effect that isolated treatments just can't achieve on their own. What's fascinating here is that this isn't just about chasing the latest beauty trends either.
Right. It's not just buzzy spa package marketing.
Exactly. What we are looking at in these manuals is a scientifically informed, sequenced cascade of physiological triggers.
A biological cascade.
Yeah, each step in the protocol is physically altering the cellular environment to prepare it for the exact mechanism of the next step. If you miss a step or change the order because you're rushing, the chemistry simply fails.
And to really grasp how different this layered approach is, we have to look at where it actually came from.
The origin story is pretty interesting.
It really is. What stands out of these materials is that this highly specific protocol wasn't born in some, sterile corporate laboratory by executives looking at revenue spreadsheets.
No, it was engineered directly on the treatment room floor.
Yeah. The origins are surprisingly grounded in daily practice. The creator of the Body Slim method and the green fat melt wrap itself is a woman named Tanya White.
Right, she's based out in Ballarat, Australia.
And she developed this signature system through years of hands-on client work. I mean, she was in the salon, working directly with clients, testing combinations, and really refining this protocol step by step.
Her approach to education doesn't come from abstract theory.
No, not at all.
It comes from real-world practical experience.
And that real-world testing led her to create something highly exclusive. Like the green fat melt wrap is a protected trademark method.
Which means if you, as a client listening to this, want this specific compounding result, you can't just walk into any random beauty parlor on the corner.
Right, you can't just ask for it anywhere. You have to find a certified Body Slim practitioner.
And that exclusivity is a major pillar of their entire model. Tanya White created a framework for salons and wellness therapists who want to offer something strictly branded and protected.
But I do have to play devil's advocate for a moment here, and I'm sure you might be wondering this too as you listen.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
I mean, is this strict certification and trademarking just a clever marketing gimmick?
Right, like is it just artificial scarcity?
Yeah. Is locking this down behind a certification wall just a way to sell more training courses to salon owners? Or is there an actual legitimate clinical necessity for keeping this sequence so exclusive?
Well, it is entirely natural to be skeptical of trademark beauty treatments, honestly.
Absolutely.
However, the source material makes a very compelling case for the clinical necessity, and it all comes back to the biological realities of treatment sequencing.
Right, that sequencing concept again.
Yeah, there's an article in our stack today titled, "Why Are So Few Salons Talking About Treatment Sequencing?" and it addresses your concern directly.
Oh, perfect. What does it say?
The reality is, without rigorous education on the underlying biology, combining random powerful treatments can be completely ineffective, or worse, physically unsafe for the client.
Right, because you could be overwhelming the body's systems if you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly that. Imagine taking 3 different machines that manipulate cellular tissue and throwing them at a client in whatever order you happen to feel like that day.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It is. If you reverse the order, say, you try to force heavy muscle contractions before you've prepared the tissue or released the lipids, you are simply fatiguing the client's body for zero metabolic gain.
Wow, okay.
So the certification ensures that the practitioner understands the biology of why the timings and the specific sequence must be followed to the letter.
All right, well, now that we understand the strict necessity of the sequence, let's actually look at the sequence itself.
Let's do it.
Let's see how this 3-step cascade works in practice, because the mechanics are pretty wild. So, step 1 of the green fat melt wrap is the primer.
Right, the primer.
It utilizes something called the liquid lipo UK wrap.
Yeah, this is a topical contouring solution applied directly to the skin, but it serves a very specific mechanical purpose.
Right, it's not just like a nice smelling lotion.
No, not at all. The manual describes it as priming the tissue, stimulating circulation, and fundamentally preparing the body for the deep-level light therapy that is going to follow.
Let's dig into that mechanism a bit. It's actively altering the environment by causing vasodilation, right?
Exactly.
It's widening the blood vessels, warming the area, and significantly increasing the local blood flow.
It is aggressively waking up the tissue. If the blood vessels are constricted and the tissue is cold, lymphatic drainage is basically stalled.
So the active ingredients force the area to become highly oxygenated and active.
Right.
Think of it like this. If you have a patch of dry, hard, compacted soil on your lawn, and you just dump a heavy bucket of water on it, what happens?
It just runs right off.
Yeah, the water just pools on the top and runs off into the driveway. It doesn't penetrate. But if you aerate the soil first...
If you break it up and soften it.
Exactly.
Right.
If you take the time to prep it, then when you apply the water, it absorbs deeply and actually reaches the roots. The liquid lipo wrap is aerating the lawn.
That's a great way to look at it. It softens and preps the adipose tissue, so the laser in the next step can actually do its job efficiently.
Right.
That aeration process is doing heavy lifting for the laser. By maximizing the tissue's receptiveness, the practitioner requires less intense energy in the subsequent steps to achieve a greater result.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Step 2. This is the 532 nanometer green laser lipolysis.
The core mechanism of the entire system.
Now, a lot of people listening are probably familiar with red light therapy. I mean, you see those red light panels everywhere these days.
Yeah, they're huge in wellness right now.
But the course manual places a massive emphasis on this specific 532 nanometer green light wavelength.
Right, they explicitly teach the biological difference between red and green wavelengths.
Yeah, this green light specifically targets adipocytes, which are our fat cells. And it does something incredibly specific. It creates what the manual calls a transient cell pore in the fat cell membrane.
We really need to pause on this concept because it explains the critical why behind the treatment's non-invasive nature.
Okay, let's break that down.
Historically, older body contouring methods relied on violently destroying the fat cell.
Like blowing it up.
Pretty much. You would have treatments like cryolipolysis, which freezes the cell to death, or certain radiofrequency treatments that heat the cell until it practically ruptures.
Both of which sound like a massive biological trauma for the body to endure.
They absolutely are. When you destroy a cell, it causes a significant inflammatory response.
Right, the body has to clean up the mess.
Exactly. The body recognizes dead cellular material and has to send macrophages, basically the body's cleanup crew, to slowly digest and remove the dead cells over the course of several months.
That sounds like a heavy load on the immune system.
It is. But this 532 nanometer green laser works entirely differently. Transient just means temporary.
Okay.
The green light chemically triggers the cell to open a temporary pore in its own wall.
Oh, wow. So it's not killing the cell.
Not at all.
Imagine a water balloon. Instead of taking a pin and popping the balloon, which makes a chaotic mess and destroys the balloon entirely, you just carefully open a tiny microscopic valve.
Yes.
You let the water slowly seep out, but the rubber balloon itself remains totally intact.
That's a perfect visualization. The laser signals the adipocyte to release its stored lipids, the actual fatty acids, out of the cell and into the interstitial space.
The interstitial space being that fluid-filled gap that exists between all our cells.
Correct. The fat cell literally deflates, but it isn't killed. It safely releases its contents into the body for natural metabolism.
But wait, this brings up a massive logical question for me.
Okay, what is it?
If step 2 just pokes a tiny temporary hole in the fat cell and empties all those fatty acids into the space between the cells, doesn't the fat just sit there?
Yes.
I mean, the lymphatic system is notoriously sluggish. If the body doesn't actually burn off those fatty acids right away, won't they just get reabsorbed right back into the fat cell once that temporary pore closes up?
You've just hit on the exact flaw of traditional standalone laser treatments.
Wait, really?
Yes. If a clinic just shines a laser on you to release the fat and then sends you home, relying entirely on your passive lymphatic system to clear it away, the results are going to be wildly inconsistent.
Because everyone's lymphatic system is different.
Exactly. The body often struggles to metabolize it fast enough, and yes, it can absolutely be reabsorbed.
Ah.
This biological roadblock is exactly why step 3 is an absolutely mandatory part of Tanya White's protocol.
Okay, so if the fat is just sitting there in the interstitial space, we need something to burn it off immediately.
Right.
The sources mentioned high-intensity electromagnetic muscle stimulation. How does a magnetic field actually accomplish burning fat?
Step 3 acts as the cleanup crew and the sculptor all at once. The Heim machine uses focused electromagnetic fields to interact directly with your motor neurons.
Motor neurons, okay.
Yeah, and it forces the muscles in the treated area to undergo what they call supermaximal contractions.
Supermaximal contractions. The manual says these contractions are far more intense than anything you could achieve by doing 100 crunches or heavy squats at the gym.
Much more intense.
Why is that? Like, why can't I just go do an intense workout immediately after the laser step?
Well, it comes down to how our brains are wired. Normally, your central nervous system acts as a safety governor.
Like a speed limit for your muscles.
Exactly. When you do a crunch at the gym, your brain only recruits maybe 30 to 40% of your muscle fibers at any one time. It deliberately limits the contraction to prevent you from tearing a muscle or snapping a tendon.
So your brain will not let you contract 100% of your muscle.
Right, so the body's actively holding itself back to prevent injury. Always.
That makes total sense.
But the Heim technology bypasses the central nervous system entirely.
It just goes right around it.
Yes. The electromagnetic field directly triggers the motor neurons, overriding the brain's safety governor. It forces virtually 100% of the muscle fibers to contract simultaneously. And not just once, tens of thousands of times in a single 30-minute session. This is a super maximal contraction.
That is wild. It's a surprisingly elegant biological workaround. Because what happens when a muscle contracts that violently and that rapidly? It becomes desperate for immediate energy, right?
It desperately needs energy, yes. It needs ATP to fuel those forced contractions.
And what happens to be sitting right there in the immediate interstitial space, conveniently released just moments prior by the green laser.
The free fatty acids.
The free fatty acids. The muscle just looks around, sees all this highly available fuel, and basically eats up all that newly released fat to power the contractions.
The sequence is a beautifully engineered metabolic trap.
A metabolic trap. I love that.
You prime the tissue to receive the light. You use the light to safely empty the fat cells without killing them. And then you artificially force the underlying muscle to perform a superhuman workload.
Which immediately metabolizes those free fatty acids while simultaneously firming and building the muscle tissue.
Exactly. The Heim accelerates the clearance of the fat, so it simply cannot be reabsorbed.
You can clearly see why doing just one of these isolated steps on its own would yield, like, a tiny fraction of the results.
A fraction, if anything at all.
Yeah. The compounding effect isn't just marketing. It is a strict physiological chain reaction.
It really is.
But, knowing the deep science is really only half the battle here.
Oh, for sure.
If you're a salon owner or a wellness professional taking this Body Slim certification, you're looking at a serious multimodality procedure. When you are manipulating cellular biology and using massive electromagnetic fields, the consultation process can't just be a quick chat at the reception desk.
No, it requires a profound level of clinical rigor.
I would imagine so.
The certification manual actually dedicates significant portions entirely to consultation, medical consent, and strict client safety.
Which is so important.
Yeah, safety is not an afterthought that is tacked on to the end of the course. It basically dictates who can even receive the treatment in the first place.
The contraindications they outline are intense. Because the practitioner is combining 3 different potent modalities, they have to screen for a huge variety of medical histories.
They really do.
For instance, they have to meticulously check for any potential allergic reactions or sensitivities to the active vasodilation ingredients in the liquid lipo wrap.
Right, because you don't want to cause a massive skin reaction. And for the laser step, they have to screen for any underlying photosensitivity.
Because of the intense light.
Exactly. They have to know if the client is taking specific medications, like certain antibiotics, that might cause the skin to react poorly to intense light therapy.
But the HIMT cautions are what really highlight the medical adjacent nature of this to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're pushing high-intensity electromagnetic fields deep into the body to bypass the central nervous system, there are absolute non-negotiable cautions for clients who have metallic implants, pacemakers, or specific cardiovascular histories.
Right. You cannot run a powerful magnet over a pacemaker. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that would be incredibly dangerous.
You cannot cut corners when dealing with electromagnetic fields. But by providing certified practitioners with ready-to-use medical consultation templates, safety protocol checklists, and comprehensive consent documentation, Tanya White ensures that the salon owner is never left guessing.
They know exactly whether to proceed or not.
Right. It elevates the standard of care to a highly professional level.
Which logically transitions us directly into the commercial strategy. Because when you are performing an intensive medical screening and offering a scientifically sequenced 3-step physiological transformation.
You aren't just selling a cheap $50 facial anymore.
Exactly. The training program provides what essentially looks like a complete business-in-a-box launch kit.
And that's so necessary, because educating a client on a 3-step biological sequence is fundamentally different from selling a generic massage.
Completely
A
different.
clinically sound, highly effective treatment will still fail commercially if the practitioner doesn't understand the psychology of how to communicate its premium value.
And the resources they provide in the course are extensive. I mean, they cover detailed pricing strategies, specifically how to structure the psychology of single session rates versus long-term course packages.
Yeah, which is vital for revenue.
They give salon owners blueprints for creating membership models to generate predictable monthly revenue, which really is the holy grail for keeping a service-based business afloat.
You have to keep the treatment diary consistently full, and memberships do exactly that.
They even include 30 done for you, ready to publish social media posts.
Which is amazing.
The salon owner doesn't even have to write their own marketing copy to explain transient cell pores or supermaximal contractions to their followers.
That saves so much time.
It's all pre-designed to visually promote the green fat melt wrap, saving the clinic owner hours of content creation.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the sheer comprehensiveness of the course becomes clear. You can have the most scientifically sound, perfectly sequenced, biologically compounding treatment in the world. But if the practitioner lacks the commercial strategy and professional marketing tools to explain why it costs what it costs, the machine will just sit in the corner gathering dust.
So true.
By providing the exact pricing structures and the educational marketing materials, the Bodhi Slim certification actively bridges the massive gap between clinical efficacy and commercial success.
It's really treating the certified salon owner as a holistic business partner, equipping them with both the science and the sales strategy.
Exactly.
Okay, let's pull all these fascinating threads together.
Let's do it.
The core takeaways for you as you listen to this deep dive are clear. The green fat melt wrap signature system is not just 3 random beauty machines thrown into a room together hoping for the best.
No, it is a meticulously trademarked, scientifically sequenced biological cascade.
You aerate and prime the environment with the liquid lipo wrap.
Step.
You safely release the lipids into the interstitial space using the 532 nanometer green laser to open transient pores.
Step 2.
And finally, you instantly metabolize those newly freed fatty acids and sculpt the underlying tissue with the HIMT supermaximal contractions. Every single step relies entirely on the successful execution of the one before it.
And that precise methodology is exactly why it remains a fiercely protected, certified-only service.
So what does this all mean?
That's the big question.
To me, it shows how strict education, clinical rigor, and unyielding protocols are fundamentally elevating non-invasive wellness treatments. We are finally moving away from the era of generic, one-size-fits-all, one-and-done salon offerings.
Which is a relief.
Right. The industry is moving toward highly specialized premium services that actually respect the complex, interconnected biology of the human body.
It's a massive paradigm shift in how we approach aesthetics. And it leaves us with a really provocative thought to ponder.
Oh, I like a provocative thought. Let's hear it.
Well, we've seen in the source material today that strategically combining and strictly sequencing different modalities creates compounding results that are far, far greater than any individual treatment could ever achieve alone.
Right, the compounding effect.
Yeah, so if strategic treatment layering is this overwhelmingly effective for localized body contouring, how might this exact concept of precisely sequenced multimodality protocols completely reshape other areas of our lives?
Oh, wow.
Right. Imagine what this logic could mean if applied to athletic recovery, chronic pain management, or even broader areas of preventative health care.
Fields that currently still rely far too heavily on isolated single interventions.
Exactly.
It really makes you rethink the whole approach to the human body. It turns out, whether you're baking a complex cake, building a house, or trying to optimize cellular biology.
You can't just throw all the ingredients in a bowl and hope for the best.
No, you cannot.
Yeah.
The magic and the science is entirely in the sequence. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.